Welcome to Chasing News. I'm George Falkowski in for Bill Spadia, who has the day off. Details, of course, continue to emerge from that terrible shooting at the YouTube headquarters in California. Here locally, what are local schools and businesses doing to keep their employees safe? Our own Monica Guy checks in with the story.
Well, we've heard the reports by now that people at YouTube were actually hiding in conference rooms, calling 911, trying to get updates about the situation. You know, schools have active shooter drills, they have lockdowns, they have fire drills. But what is happening in corporate America to keep people safe when they head out to work? Well, I spoke with one of the world's leading corporate security experts at Investigative Management Group.
We suggest that companies do lockdown programs, that they have a plan in place, policy in place, what to do if there is an active shooter situation. You know, even how to determine when in fact it is real.
Okay, so what do you do? What are you supposed to do if that backfiring sound you hear is real and there's a shooter inside your building?
Well, there's three things we tell them. We tell them to run if they can. If they can't run immediately and get away, we tell them to hide. Just take shelter and hide as best you can. And if those two things fail, you have to fight.
George, I did some digging today and I found out that according to the United States Department of Labor, as many as 2 million people every year are the victims of workplace violence. Reporting for Chasing News, I'm Monica Guy.
Thanks so much, Monica. Joining us now, we've got a couple of security experts, workplace violence, defensive experts, I guess might be the way to put it best. Joining me now is Errol Brudner and Marcus DePontes. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Is this a trend that's getting more and more attention because of media, or is it something that we concern ourselves with every day?
I think it's something we concern ourselves with every day. We've seen it from parents whose children are attending schools, as well as in the business and office buildings, that people are afraid of violence.
How about you, Marcus, as well? What is your take on what's going on now, and how do we try to prevent more of this from happening?
Obviously, it's a concern. The media is obviously a big part of the information that's going out. YouTube, Parkland, Errol and I do a lot of work in security and emergency management. We've seen a certain uptick in some of our clients reaching out, just looking for additional training, looking for additional plan development. So we've been traveling all over the country trying to address this issue and move forward in a positive way.
Is it a situation now where you advise employees to basically, like we did as kids, duck and cover?
He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered.
Or do you recommend some type of resistance, depending on the situation that's happening?
We focus a lot on the signs that something bad's about to happen so we can prevent it. We think prevention is really important, whether an employee is a victim of domestic violence and that could surface at the workplace, whether you have a disgruntled employee or an angry customer. If you start picking up those signs, monitoring social media threats, doing some risk and threat assessments on the people that are posting anger or chasing one of your employees, you may be able to prevent this if you really follow up and pay attention and then implement certain security measures.
All right, Marcus DePontes, Errol Brudner, thank you so much for your time. I really wish you a lot of luck in your work here. Let's kick it to the A-plus panel. We've got, of course, Peter Brown, the Democratic councilman from Linden, and our good friend, Bob Bianchi, former prosecutor, defense attorney. You got it all going. Let's start with you because you deal with this stuff on a legal basis every day. Talk about threat assessment. How real is that? And can people actually act on tips and warning signs without getting sued by somebody who feels offended?
Absolutely. Let's look at Parkland, what happened with all the tips and data and social media points and law enforcement points. I have a consulting group after I left being prosecutor specifically designed with those two fellas with workplace violence. We know that there is ways that we can interdict preventatively beforehand. And George, unfortunately, what everyone seems to concentrate on and with the businesses that we work is what to do while it's happening. Of course, that's important. But if you interdict and have good prevention policies and risk assessment ahead of time, you can prevent. And we have, in fact, prevented certain things from happening. And this is where companies need to make an investment in their employees. They need to make an investment not only just for brand protection and for human protection, the insurance reduction that they will get as businesses when they do these things with competent experts, and unfortunately there are some that are and there's some that aren't, is well worth the dividends that go far beyond the human carnage that can happen when you don't have such a plan.
Well, Bob just gave us the big picture. Peter, you're in Linden. You've got a big high school there. That's a big target of opportunity if somebody decides to go after it. On the local level, how do you feel about this?
On a local level, let me put it this way. Every town has to deal with this, and every Board of Education. Government is addressing this issue by ways of prevention, by security measures, things of this nature. We're in an age that you can get threats from anywhere. And so it's going back to right after September 11 was a matter of if you see something, say something. A lot of people took that as when it comes to terrorism. Well, if you see something on social media that's out of place, you need to contact your police department. If you see something, you know, or you hear something talking to people, you should say something. I mean, we're in a day and age where, you know what, if you see that there's some type of threat that's about to happen, you have to inform authority.
Let me give you this real quick, Bob, real quick in 10 seconds or less. We see something, say something, and in the case of Parkland, no one did anything.
We have to better educate our businesses. But I'll tell you the biggest problem that exists, apathy. What I noticed as the prosecutor when we were targeting schools and businesses is that businesses think this will never happen to me. And unfortunately there are people like us that can go out there and teach you how to do it. You've got to want to do it first.
All right, A+ panel, Bob, Peter, thank you so much.